My name is Valdrin and I'm the senior analyst for Being Crypto. So today with me, as always, we have Konstantin, who is our global trader, and Ankit, who is our community manager and also a trader. So today we're going to talk about the Bitcoin sentiment and trend in order to determine if we are still bullish. So as always, I will share my screen and just give my thoughts on the Bitcoin movement. Okay. So honestly, last week's movement is really horrible for me. Like I was super bullish before that. Now I don't know. I'm like kind of torn. Um, so yeah, I'll just so firstly reasons why I still am a bullish. I mean, it's mainly this breakout here. Like obviously we had this massive long-term descending resistance line. The price did break out from it and then validated it as support in March. So, I mean, breakout, validation and support, followed by a really long lower wick, is a sign of buying pressure and obviously like bodes really well for the future price. And also the weekly RSI moved above 50. Now, these signs are still in place. Like obviously the price is still way above the breakout level and the weekly RSI is still above 50 and increasing. So both of these are pretty fine with me. But what I don't like is the massive rejection at this 31K area or something. And like this is a really crucial area because it did act as support for like the longest time, basically for nearly 2 years. And then now it's obviously expected to act as resistance. So yeah, that's the first reason. And what I really don't like is obviously this bearish engulfing candlestick. I mean, these candlesticks are really significant bearish signs, and they often lead to sharp downward movements. So this is something that I'm definitely wary about. And yes, so the way I see it right now, uh, the question to me is the long-term movement, because for the short-term movement, I'm pretty sure this is uh, a completed five-wave move. The the only thing is how actually weird this looks, because I had this as an original five, right? So we had the 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and then we had this correction here, which okay, it does make sense. And then like once we had this really short-term correction here, I was hoping to do this and like just go mega bullish, but no. So the way I see it right now, it's still a weird count, but it's the only one that actually makes sense to me, is this. Now really small wave 4, but it doesn't go into the territory of wave 1, and wave 4s are often shallow. So yeah, it's also a triangle here, so this does make sense as a wave 4. Now I get it, really small wave 4, wave 5 is also tiny, but still, wave 3 is in the shortest, there's no overlap, wave 4 is actually a triangle. So those are all signs that this could actually be the correct count. So what this means is that Bitcoin will correct now. But this is what I'm saying, basically it really well, I do expect a correction in the short term. I'm not sure about the long term prospects just yet, because I mean, short term Bitcoin could do this obviously if it's still bullish, or I mean, it would make more sense if it goes to like the 0.5 or even a golden ratio. So all of this would make sense to me, right? But what I don't know is that if the new upward movement began here, or if it's just like this massive ABC and then will like crash toward the new yearly low. I'm leaning on the bullish one, to be honest, just because I mean in the weekly it still makes sense as a full blown reversal. I mean, the things we discussed before still make sense. Like we had this massive deviation here, sharp upward movement. But yeah, I really don't like this bearish engulfing. To me, it's a very clear sign of a local top. So short term, the short term, I think we do get a bounce here, like really, really soon, because I mean, bullish divergence is here. Uh, this is nearly completed 5-wave move, or could even be a completed move, I don't know. So either this, the same with a really short wave 5, or this. So either way we'll get a bounce, but I think bounces are for shorting right now, to be honest, because either way we probably had lower in the midterm, and then afterward we'll decide. So if like we get a 28.5, even 28, but probably 28.5, like personally I look for a short somewhere there. And yeah, maybe just look at the RSI here a little. So yeah, daily one went below 50, but I'm not really paying attention to the daily RSI that much, just because it's not predicting it that well recently. Like we've had all these movements above and below. So since since it hasn't been a good predictor of the price, I'll just not completely disregard it, but I'm paying less attention to it. So yeah, main horizontal support is at 25k, and that is just at the 0.32 fib. And also if we see this lower portion of the upward movement here, that's close to the 0.5 and between the 0.5 and 0.6. So like my most likely movement would be something like this. Strong bounce and then another drop here, and then I don't know, maybe like another bounce, another crash, but like I'll determine once it gets there. But yeah, right now I think we're heading to 25k. Yeah, so that's it for Bitcoin on my side. I'll remove my screen.
Yeah, thank you very much, Valdrin. I certainly agree on the weekly chart. I mean, like the weekly candle is just extremely bearish, but I think I'm here to spread some hopium because I also see some bullish signs. So I'm not fully convinced that we are going to have a lower low. So I think there's still hope. So just let me share my screen and I will share my thoughts on that. So basically, we had a pretty significant upward movement the last 3 months. So we have to take that into account, that we still have that possibility of a bullish trend reversal. But what I expected to happen is that we reach the fib resistance at the 36,000 range, which did not happen. But basically, we got already rejected at that minor resistance and we closed below it. So this is a pretty obvious rejection, and this is to me a very bearish sign, especially because of this weekly candle. But in a daily chart, we still have some bullish hope because we are still at the 50-day EMA support. And once we reached it, we bounced off it and basically neutralized the whole bounce, and we're now back at the 50-day EMA support. And this is the turning point for me, because we could still bounce off it and head towards the next fib resistances. And for that, it would be really important that we break the roughly the 30,000 price mark, where the golden ratio is, because then that would mean that this correction wave is completed and we can basically head towards the fib target of 36,000. But once we break that support right now, here the 50-day EMA, I'm honestly shorting Bitcoin, because then I totally expect a drop to 25k, where the next fib support is. And that's like extremely obvious to me, to be honest. So we could easily here drop roughly 9%. But then again, it's just a correction to me, because if we stay above the gold ratio at least 20,900, this upward movement remains intact to me. So Bitcoin remains bullish in the midterm if we stay above the 20,900 mark. And I mean, we could still retrace almost 23% until then. So yeah, the short term, I'm rather bearish. So I rather go for the possibility that we're heading towards gold ratio support than that we bounce off the 50-day already. Because to be honest, like that we bounced from here and like had 3 bearish days in a row after that is a very bearish sign. So I would be surprised if this support will successfully hold now. So I'm also leaning towards a like further correction towards the FIB supports. But then again, midterm we totally remain bullish. Especially we had the death cross in the weekly chart, which was like the first time in the history of Bitcoin, but that got basically replaced by a golden crossover. So even in a weekly chart based on a golden crossover, we're still bullish midterm. And then also, what I haven't shared in the last few meetings is some on-chain analysis. And I think it's also pretty significant. So there's some bullish, there are definitely some bullish charts that I want to share with you. Just let me try to find the right window here. So, okay, let's start with the balance price. Just let me check if you can see it. Yeah, so balance price indicator, we don't have to explain much here. Simply look at the orange line, which represents the balance price of Bitcoin. And basically, whenever Bitcoin reached the balance price, or whenever the price of Bitcoin matched the balance price, there was an upward rally followed by that. And also, most of the times, it meant that we already reached the bottom in that particular cycle. So here we still had like choppy markets and a little bit of a downturn, but we definitely hit the lowest point here. Then we also hit the lowest point here, almost hit it here. But the only exception is basically where we also went a little bit lower. But even then, you saw we had this pretty significant upward movement. And since then, we already had this significant upward movement where we can basically assume we reached the bottom at 15K. So this is based on that, still a possibility. But I would also say this is a rather weak argument, but there are definitely other indicators that are more bullish to me. So I will just share my screen again to a different window here. So yeah, this indicator is pretty bullish to me. So what it does is basically it's the 2-year moving average multiplier, and it's used for long-term investment predictions. Basically, it says that it basically highlights periods where buying or selling Bitcoin during those times would have produced outsized returns. So that means basically, if we just look at that chart, whenever we're in the below the green line, we're in the green zone, which is a positive buying range. And for now, we're still in that zone. So based on that indicator, we can assume it's still a good time to buy Bitcoin if we have a 2-year horizon where we can say, okay, I don't care about the short-term movement. So this indicator doesn't say we don't go lower. It simply assumes based on the historical data that we can sell for high price in about 2 years. Then also this one I find extremely interesting. I mean, all of those data points are basically it's like I wouldn't overestimate their meaning, but sometimes it's really interesting how like the patterns that they are showing. And in that case, it just compares the bull cycles, and it basically takes the halving date. So basically, I just will read that here. Each line starts at the halving date, and the x-axis runs from that point the number of days. And if you look at that, you can see that we are in a very similar phase. Well, basically, we left a very similar phase. So you had the peak around that area here, so between day 200 and day 600, nothing crazy here. But then you had a major downtrend. But what all of those had in common is that they reached the bottom around in this middle zone. So basically, roughly around day 800, day 900, and day 900. So we could assume based on that that we are in the same phase right now. So this could be the same cycle. And if we assume that, you all see what happened before. So the red line and the blue line is what happened before, and the green line is our current cycle. So basically, that would mean that from now on we will head higher because we always reach the bottom of the cycle during that time here. But this is just some hopium to bring on a bullish perspective. I usually don't pay too much attention to stuff like that because we are technical traders, and as such, we are mostly looking at the price movement. But for the price movement, I still think we have some bullish hope as long as we stay above 20,900. So yeah, that's it from me on my side. So basically, I will pass it to Ankit now.
Yeah, thanks, man. I mean, my thoughts aren't too different from you guys. I still think that BTC is in a bull market, and as you have said, 20K, as long as 20K holds, I think there won't be any new lower low for BTC and in the midterm. And I think we have already been in a bull market. We have stepped into it. But in shorter terms, I think BTC can have a short time correction. And let me just share my screen for that, and I'll just give my 2 words on it. Okay, I guess you guys can see my BTC chart right now.
Yes.
So, I mean, Valdrin has already explained it about BTC, and his opinions are obviously matching and aligning with my thoughts. And simply, BTC had broken out from this ascending triangle, according to me, and we have this whole price action here is a failed breakout from this structure, and it is just sitting on this green box support level at the daily, and I think this is going to give in sooner or later in the short time. Uh, on the weekly level, obviously it has been rejected from here, so nothing extra that I want to add here. There's one thing that I want to add on BTC is that I found some similarities. If we zoom out on the daily chart a little, now BTC had this range here, let me draw it correctly. Yeah, in that range. Let me clear this out. So this was the range from 45 to 35. and BTC had given a false breakout from here. This one, and the price action is there. And then again, we remove that. This range, which BTC had, it gave a false breakout here, and the price action had followed after that. And this is the third time after ranging that much. Like this was the range. I have taken it as a ascending triangle, but if I remove that also, this is some sort of a range because BTC had ranged here quite a few days and after breaking out. So this is an established range that BTC was trading in. And after that, this is the third time BTC has given a false breakout. And if we look at the previous false breaks and see the price action there, I can assume at least the weekly and the monthly levels, which is this one, which is also the zero point 0.5, zero point 0.6 fib levels, that which is the golden area, golden ratio support, which I expect can be tested. So I expect 24K, 25K at least to be tested for BTC in the short term. Um, and I agree with uh, both of you that it is obviously bullish in the midterm because I won't bore you with the same details again that the higher lows and lower lows and lower highs were broken out, and we have talked about it in previous teams also. So obviously I'm bullish on BTC because with that kind of a monthly candle, you can't be very bearish on BTC in the midterm. So that is one thing. Another thing I want to talk about Ethereum now, since I have explained BTC and you have just mm, explained it perfectly. So about Ethereum, I just want to say that I mean I don't personally like this kind of a monthly candle because Ethereum had closed above uh, the previous month above this monthly resistance at 1677, and this monthly candle has been a disaster for ETH. And I mean it is still bullish until 1667 is broken to the downside on the monthly, but uh, if I have to make a mechanism or make a technical analysis about the shortened time frames, I'll go to the weekly, which is looking like again similarly as BTC, it is looking at like like BTC on the daily showing an engulfing candle. Ethereum is showing on the weekly time frame that engulfing bearish candle. So I think there is a much better chart. I guess next will have more history for Ethereum. Yes. So okay. So I guess if I have to make some level, now this was the weekly uh, support here. Tested it as a resistance here, made a breakout here, and the last weekly candle has closed below it. So I guess this is a failed breakout for ETH also. And with BTC, if I am expecting BTC to test 25K or 24K, even in the shorter terms, and ETH is looking bearish on the weekly now. So I guess alts will suffer with them also. And the third point I would like to make this one, the total market cap, excluding BTC. The weekly resistance has uh, acted as resistance here, and there's a hidden bearish divergence on this chart on the weekly time frame below the resistance area. So I think this is not painting a very good picture for all or ETH, in my opinion, and we can have a good correction in ETH and the alts also. I mean, ETH can obviously go and test 1500s or probably, yes, 1500s, I think. At least the monthly level here can be tested at 1677, which I think is most probable. And I mean, ETH will still be bullish if it goes to, I mean, according to me, ETH will still be bullish if it goes to mid 1400s at the support level. But the ultimate bearish scenario will occur if we break this support. And till then, uh, till BTC breaks down 20K, which is highly improbable, but I can't really say about it because this price action is totally not acceptable for me to make a bullish case on BTC in the short term. And maybe if BTC plays a miracle here and starts closing above 30K, I would consider that the short term analysis has been proven wrong. But till then, I'm short term bearish, and midterm is obviously bullish for BTC.
Thanks a
So
lot for
I'll
that, Ankit.
pass it over to you, Valdrin.
Yeah, I guess we have 3 more minutes, and I don't. I mean, I don't really have anything uh, to add that would either like go against what you said or something like that. I basically have the same ideas. So I'm guessing maybe we'll look at if there are any questions right now. And if not, I guess this is the end of the stream.
Yeah, I don't have anything to add to that as well.
Okay, then I guess thanks a lot for joining the stream, and we'll also have a stream next week. So yeah, we will see everyone on next week's stream. Bye.
Take care, guys. Bye bye.
Yeah.